see what Chad Reed has today, Brayton. Let's go racing live on Fuel TV. Villopoto is going to grab the whole shot. He's got Dungey right there with him on the inside, but Barcia is going to get past both. And Dungey takes advantage of Barcia cutting across the front of Villopoto and takes over second.
Wow, Villopoto got real aggressive there, tried to get to the inside of Dungey, and right now they've put down a little bit of water. They've worked the track in certain spots. It's going to be really slippery. You see Dungey slipping and sliding, trying to hold the inside line.
And Dungey able to take the lead away from Barcia. Barcia going to try to get it back on the extreme left side. Not able to make it happen, so Dungey goes from about 4th to 1st in 3 or 4 turns.
And look at Villopoto. He notched the fastest lap time in the second qualifying round by close to 3 seconds. And I watched the lap. I was on him, and I mean, he just executed it perfectly. Now, as a rider, you know, somebody like Dungey, you can either be devastated or you can use that for motivation to say, look, I need to step it up. And that's exactly what Dungey has done here at this beginning of Moto 1. Executed the start, and now he's going to put the hammer down and try to get away. But I suspect the 17 and the 2 are going to have something all the way through this Moto.
That's that big turning double jump that a lot of riders not able to get over in practice. You see Metcalf and Weimer come through in 4th and 5th. That double's very tough today.
Well, they've it's not that the double is hard, but it's hard to make this inside turn. This camera that we have is located right there on the inside, and you have to hit that pretty fast.
Whoa, speaking of fast, Villopoto getting the wheels back down to the ground, trying to horsepower his way past Barcia.
Watch the inside. Barcia's out in the messy stuff.
It's a drag race now. Another one of these big Steel City jumps, and Villopoto's going to beat Barcia to the inside. Can the 17 run it around the outside fast enough? I don't think so. Villopoto has taken 2nd place away.
Well, and Jason, in this championship chase, it could be not a Suzuki of Metcalf, but it could be the Honda rider of Justin Barcia that could be Ryan Dungey's biggest ally. He needs a win, first off, then he needs other riders in between himself and Villopoto to try to close up that 8-point gap in the championship.
Yeah, well, even after the first lap here, Barcia has already made his presence known. Villopoto had the whole shot. Barcia snuck by him, and that slowed Villopoto up, and that's why Dungey is ahead of Villopoto now. So Barcia already a factor as they race past that Makita Mechanics area for the first time. Now instead of uphill jumps, and we'll hook back onto the start straight.
Yeah, and look at Villopoto. He notched a triple in there. And you can see there's some wet spots on the track. There's some dry spots. Some of the lines are not so good. And the track right now is really tricky. And once Dungey got up front, I noticed he's riding a little bit cautious. Villopoto has the ability of being in second. He can be a little more, take a few more chances, whereas Dungey kind of has to guard the inside. So you can see Villopoto here really riding the wide line. And the second reason for that, of course, Jason, as I talk about every week with these 450s, is the roost here. There is rocks in this hard clay, and for Ryan Villopoto right now, when he catches a mouthful of roost off the back of Dungey's Suzuki, it hurts. And at this type of track, when you're consistently following a rider up these hills, and you can see all those light spots, that's all little rocks in there, it's brutal.
And now, just as quickly as Villopoto is able to close right up on Dungey, Dungey pulls back away, and there's Barcia still not too far back in 3rd.
Yeah, but see, I don't necessarily think that is a situation that Dungey executed the turn better, or Villopoto made a mistake. He clearly got close, got in that roost zone, got in that spray, and then backed off just a little bit.
Here's Chad Reed in 6th, trying to get around Weimer for 5th, and Reed almost went for that big double. This is kind of what we've seen for Chad Reed the last couple of weeks. The guy was battling for wins and was leading the series standings for most of the year, but now is just trying to get into the top 5. He has not quite been the same ever since that huge crash in Minnesota.
Well, and then the problems that they had with the bike last week, it just demoralizes you, because he came into Southwick 1 week ago minus 25 in the championship. That's a full moto's worth of points, and he was looking for something special. Okay, I got 6 motos to go. If I can turn this thing around and I can get back to winning, I can close this thing up. But then he has 2 DNFs on the day, and it's just demoralizing, and it's really tough to go out there and race at this level when you know that the championship is gone. And that's the difference. The flip side of this is Villopoto and Dungey both are riding for the ultimate goal, for the championship, the bonuses, the everything that goes along with that. And I say it every year at this time. When you're battling for the championship, the intensity's there, the motivation is there, and you really separate yourself from the competition.
And a little bit further back from Reed comes Brayton. That's our Fuel TV 1 to watch. And like we said, he's very fast on this track. Podiums here the last 2 years, a Moto win 2 years ago.
Yeah, notching the triple there.
Yeah. And he's got Alessi behind him. Some rumors here that Brayton might be moving on to the factory Honda team. That's the word in the pits today. I don't know if that's official yet, but good for him. Then the Joe Gibbs Racing team, they're going to be back next year. Maybe not with Brayton, but they're shopping for riders as well. So many different things are happening in the sport, not only the racing on the track, but who's going to sign with who for next year.
Well, it is the silly season, right?
What they call it. It's Alessi here behind Brayton. Not sure where he's going to end up next year. Could end up staying with this Red Bull KTM team.
And I'm not sure why they call it the silly season, because it's actually quite serious.
Quite serious. I believe it or not, I looked it up, and I think it's because the part of the year was connected to the Indian summer that was known to have a silly moon. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
I looked that up one time.
Well,
I'll
fans,
clarify.
That's why we have Jason Wygant here with us for just a wealth of knowledge, not only in motocross, but in...
That was a butchered version of it. Let's see who's tracking Alessi here, and this is the issue. Alessi has been in this position much more often than I think most people expected. Usually Alessi is lightning fast off the start. Now he's a sandwich between the Muscle Milk Toyota Joe Gibbs riders, Les Smith, the 44, and the 10 of Brayton. I haven't seen the starts from Alessi we usually expect.
Nah, and he needs that start, especially on a day like today where Dungey and Villopoto have notched 229s. Okay, Alessi was at a 236.8. Do the math on that each lap. And today, our two championship title contenders have really separated themselves. I mean, they are just head and shoulders above the rest of the competition.
Kyle Regal, the next rider in line, picked up a ride here with this BTOsports.com Suzuki squad. The Butler brothers running that, and he is upside top 10, so he's got to be happy.
Joining Michael Byrne on that, and his teammate suffering from a bad start. He's down around 20th, 18th.
And there comes Jimmy Albertson coming through next on the Valley Motorsports Rockstar Yamaha, as we try to show you some of the riders in the field. And then behind him, is that the Canadian? Is that Colton Fasciotti coming through next?
Look like a Lucas Oil Honda rider, yep.
Yeah, that's a good story there. That's your multi-time Canadian national champ who's picked up the replacement ride on the Lucas Oil Troy Lee Honda for the injured Christian Craig. Meanwhile, back to the leaders, it's still the Ryans. And how many times at this track, Jeff, have we seen this scenario break out? Long series, a lot of riders in contention. It boils down to 2 at the end of the year, and we come to Steel City, and those 2 riders are the ones breaking away that little extra push that you seem to talk about every year when we come to this track. Oh, too much push. And Dungey goes off the track and nearly hands the lead over to Villopoto.
Last lap around, they dropped it from a 229 to a 227. But that little mistake right there, that's going to fuel the fire for Villopoto, thinking, okay, if I press him right now, I can possibly force him into a mistake. And for Dungey, he's just got to keep his cool. I mean, this is like a chess match at this point. Early on in this, everyone's trying to feel out the lines. They're trying to see where each other's at as far as the lap times.
And as far as the race strategy goes, Jeff, we've seen a lot of races this year where Villopoto was willing to take those chances on the early laps and got away. Today, it's Dungey pushing the envelope early on.
Yeah, watch right here. Now, he's been riding the inside line, and right here, he gets his weight to the left side, the outside, just a little bit. So he decides to pop the clutch a little bit, give it a throttle to keep the front wheel from falling in one of those other lines as his momentum took him to the left.
So Villopoto got to see that firsthand, so he knows that maybe you just put a little pressure on. Maybe he can get around Dungey that way.
Wow, look at these guys. They're doing a double and then a triple single through there. No doubt part of that 227 lap time.
We'll just talk real quick about the jumps on this track compared to what we had in the sand last week.
Yeah, this is night and day difference in these racetracks, and it's going to get extremely rough and rutted, but certainly it's got that supercross style feel to it.
All right, well, Villopoto is Supercross champ this year. Dungey was Supercross champ last year. I don't know who that favors. It's going to be a great race between the Ryans up front early at Steel City. No change in the order here at the Steel City National, round 11 of the 12-race Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. It's still Ryan Dungey here on the yellow number 1, leading the green number 2 of Villopoto, but this is not a very big lead and it's still early in the race.
Yeah, you can see Dungey has stretched it out just a little bit, and if you really focus on where that roost is coming off the back of Dungey's bike, that's probably about the distance Villopoto is going to be behind.
See the countdown clock at the top of the screen, 18 minutes and then 2 more laps left in this race, so we're not even near the halfway point. Don't miss the premiere of the Moto Inside the Outdoors. That's next weekend, September 10th, right after our final first Motos of the year live on Fuel TV. So you can take a look at the real story behind the ride. That's Saturday, September 10th, 6 Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, only on Fuel TV next weekend. There will be a huge block of motocross racing behind the scenes and in front of the scenes next weekend. A banner weekend for the sport for Palo. We'll have back-to-back first Motos live here on Fuel TV. We'll have the premiere of the Moto and then switch over to Speed, and we'll have the final 2 Motos of the year, Moto 2s, live on Speed. So an unbelievable jam-pack. That's what, 5 hours of motocross?
Are you in shape for that, Jason?
Too late now.
Gonna have to just do it. Huh? You're gonna have to dig deep, okay?
That's right.
Raise the intensity up. Titles are on the line.
Last round. I'm just like Villopoto and Dungey, right? We got to put that extra push.
Look at the gap here between 4th and 5th. That was Metcalf that went by, and Chad Reed, who is at the 2:32 lap time range. Our leaders are 2:27. Yeah, coming around here, trying to work his way forward.
Reed's got some ground to make up, but that's what you're talking about. Those lap times there, 5 seconds off. He was right there. And I'd say the most heartbreaking thing for Reed, moments before that crash that has kind of taken the wind out of his sails, so to speak,
Millville, yeah.
In Millville, he had passed Dungey and Villopoto to take the lead in the second Moto of the year and had beaten Dungey in the first Moto that day. He was riding the best he had ridden all summer up until that moment. So it wasn't like the title was slipping away.
Yeah.
It really came down to that one incident.
You got that right. And, trying to put this 2-2 Motorsports Honda into a good position, possibly a podium. They're backed by Bel-Ray this year. Bunch of good people on board, and you know those DNFs last year were really hard, or last week were really heartbreaking, not only for Honda the manufacturer, but all of the great guys that work on 2-2 Motorsports, you know, and they put such a big effort into it. So just a frustrating end of the championship all around for the 2-2.
Yeah, and obviously the standards were set very high when you lead the point standings early on. So we know that Chad's probably bummed about the way it's turned out, but let's hear from the man himself.
I mean, it's tough to put into words. You know, you come so far, and you know, as a team, you try to build from Supercross. You know, it was our first year ever, and you know, we achieved getting second, won 2 races, and then we're on a roll in outdoors. You know, we were winning races, won 4 overalls, and we had a good points lead. And Millville kind of set us back a little bit, and then you try to rebuild from that. You know, try to realize that it was really a bigger issue than what it really was. You try to just, you know, dust it under the rug, and it never went away. You know, I just was never riding at my best. So rebound and then come back at Southwick with 2 DNFs. It's disappointing, and it's tough to finish off the season. You know, like you come here to win races and with the hope of winning a title, and that the hopes, you know, the light at the end of the tunnel is really small right now. And so you know, we're just trying to finish off the seasons with the most overalls, try to get another 1 or 2, and get ready for Donations.
Donations is the world team race that comes up the weekend after our final American motocross round. What do you think when you watch Reed here? Are you seeing a different level of intensity? Are you seeing anything different about the way he's riding now compared to a month ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's all different.
Really?
Like you mentioned, at that point when he made the pass and then the massive crash that millions and millions of people have seen, it was just, you know, he had a handle on the championship. And we were at the halfway point, okay? Puts himself into a great position. And let's take a look here at this massive get-off earlier this season.
Yeah, and again, he's in the process of taking the lead from Villopoto. He's taking the lead, and then this. One of the wildest crashes we have ever seen. Got some footage here, and so lucky landed on that grass embankment. When he was up in the air, the first thing that ran through my mind is, we're not going to see Chad Reed ride maybe ever again.
Yeah, you know, and I've been in that situation where you're flying through the air and you're rolling up the windows, and then we saw these images where the bike's in great shape. This Honda is dialed in, and he gets back on and has this heroic ride to get points in the Moto. but then it let these two riders back in the championship. And Chad admittedly says mentally, you know, with all of the media coverage that he received from that, I really think that that was a negative effect, because it just kept reminding him of how lucky he was to walk away from that. And when you race at this level, you put all of that, all of the dangers of the sport and anything, you put that out of your mind, because you cannot ride at the level that these two gentlemen are at if you're worried about those types of injuries.
Yeah, there's no doubt that the two Ryans here, Dungey the leader, Villopoto in second, they're not worried about anything except going as fast as they possibly can right now. And if that means pushing the envelope a little bit, they're more than willing to do it, because the championship is on the line. You talked about it at the top of this show. If Villopoto beats Dungey in this moto, begins to control his own destiny in a way over the final 3 races with an 11-point lead. So Dungey needs to win this one. Aaron, what are you hearing on the number 1 of Dungey?
You guys are talking about pushing the envelope. As soon as Dungey went by, his mechanic, Mike Gosler, had put on the pit board smooth traction, reminding him to stay smooth. The smoother he rides, the more traction he's going to have out there. This is something that they've all been struggling all day long.
Yeah, well, Jeff, we touched on that earlier. A different surface, different layout than we had at Southwick, and a lot of the riders in practice saying how slippery this track was.
Yeah, it looked pretty good, but it looked nice and tacky from where I was sitting. But once you've got all that horsepower from these 450s, you know, you really have to be good with your throttle control as you're rounding these turns and heading back up the hills.
Oh, we've got a great scenario shaping up here with just over 10 minutes and 2 laps to go. We're into the final half of this one. Dungey trying to hold Villopoto at bay. Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship continues. Ryan Dungey leading the way over Ryan Villopoto, but by a very small margin. Little mistakes here from Dungey. See if he can hang on. Next Tuesday, it's the world television premiere of Strangers in Danger right here on Fuel TV. Best friends and pro BMXers Mike Rooftop Escamilla and Zach Catfish Yankish. They're lightly packed but heavily insured, and they're on a mission to take on some of the most extreme, bizarre, and dangerous experiences around the globe. So check it out. Strangers in Danger, Tuesday, 10:30 Eastern and Pacific, only on Fuel TV. And Dungey's in a little bit of danger now. And they are strangers, lap riders, and he's got to maneuver his way through.
Yeah, he's trying to work his way through. Got through the 2 riders there, split the middle. But just before this, just as we were coming back on the air, Dungey had an incredibly close call with another lap rider. I'm telling you, that's this tough point when you know, you're running so much faster than the other riders.
And maybe that's what Villopoto's waiting for, a mistake, an opening from Dungey. He's got a lot closer. Let's take us through this moment, Jeff.
Yeah, watch this. He's got a lap rider in front of him, and he comes into the inside here, and he's going to try to stay to the right over this double. But watch, see the lap rider on the left. Watch Dungey. His momentum his balance gets off a little bit, and he almost jumps into the back of that lap rider.
Working on another one. Working on another lap rider there, Jeff, and that's it. That could be the whole series.
Yeah, and if you're riding Villopoto, you're riding a nice, cautious race right now, and you're seeing all of those little mistakes that Dungey is making. Even though Dungey's putting in a fantastic ride, great lap times, all that, but Dungey doesn't see Villopoto if he's, you know, struggling at all, if he's got his feet off, or if he almost goes down. He can't see that. So the mental game that's being played right now, this chess match, is, you know, from behind, you have the advantage of being able to see what's happening in front of you. In front, obviously, the advantage is you're up front, and you're throwing the roost off to the guy behind you.
And then does Dungey, when he makes a mistake, does he also know that Villopoto saw that? And does that worry him a little bit?
Yeah, of course, of course.
I just showed a weakness. So there's a lot going on here in the heads of these riders. They get through another lap rider. That's Ricky Dietrich. Luckily for Dungey, no one in his path this time over this double.
You see Villopoto, he's starting to put the hammer down now. 6 minutes plus 2 laps, and this is when it's really going to start to intensify. And if you go back 1 week ago to Moto 1, it was at the end of Moto 1 after Dungey had that nice, comfortable lead that Villopoto really put the pressure on Ryan Dungey to finish it off. How
about this kid, Barsha, in third? And again, that first lap, he passed Villopoto, and that slowed him up just enough for Dungey to get by.
Now,
sorry to cut you off there, Jeff. We're going to send it down to Aaron with more on Barsha.
Justin Barsha is another rider that has been struggling to get any kind of traction whatsoever today. They have done a couple of changes with tire combinations, both the front and rear. Looks as though they do have some traction out there right now, as he's got third in the bag at the moment.
He does, but Brett Metcalf is right there. Aaron, did anyone say they weren't struggling to find traction on this track today? Is that the overarching theme, it seems?
Every person down here has been saying the same thing. And the unfortunate thing is the track has changed so much from morning till the afternoon. It rained heavily yesterday. It was soggy this morning. It's deep ruts. And as of right now, it looks as though there's a little bit of dust blowing, so things have definitely dried out.
And here comes Metcalf putting the attack on Barcia. So let's see who has better traction through this corner. Barcia's going to beat Metcalf to the inside.
And I tell you what, Jason, what I'm seeing is a very controlled Justin Barcia. He's trying to find some smooth lines right now. Wow, he just splashes Metcalf, but Metcalf takes over third.
Wow. Oh, and Barcia, the two lines came together, and Barcia bumps the back tire of Metcalf, lucky to stay upright.
Now, even though he's lost the position, Justin Barcia is showing a lot more respect for this 450 Honda than he had in the previous two rides when he was the wild child, and especially those images from last week in the rain at Southwick when he was absolutely out of control going for it, and it worked for him. A track like here today, he's got to respect it more. He's got to be more in control because of the lack of traction.
Well, I think that's what's making even this battle for the lead deceiving between Dungey and Villopoto. You want to think that you're going to see these guys riding almost over their heads to try to beat each other, but on this track, is that going to work?
Well, it's interesting. Dungey is always perfect with his technique, and he's always in control. He's letting his inside leg kind of dangle around a little bit here today, so he's got the fast but loose vibe going here today, like where he's not tight and everything is, you know, textbook. He's kind of a little loose on the bike, letting it flow around, and when it's choppy like this, that's what you have to do, is to let the bike go a little bit under you, and because if you're holding on so tight, you're going to feel every one of those bumps, every little jar of the machine.
Oh, Villopoto not only closing in, but he tripled in to that little section of jumps. Clear to 3 jumps in 1. He's ready to go.
Wow, now that's a hot line. I walked that during practice, and I looked at it, and I'm going, why are these guys not jumping it? It looks great from
Looks
where
easy.
I was at.
Yeah.
It looked really easy. Of course, is always the case, but then you get on the track and things change. But this is going to be a situation where if Ryan Villopoto can execute that triple next to Dungey, then he can possibly use it.
He's next to him right now, Jeff. He goes to the inside. This apparently is Villopoto's time to go and pull the trigger, and you think he's got a spot maybe picked out.
Exactly. Now, what I was saying on that triple, if he can do it next to Dungey, he can use it as a passing spot. If he has to jump it in the same line, then he can't. It's only going to make up time.
Let's send it down to Aaron. What's happening there in the mechanics area, Aaron? He's going to try to talk to Mike Gosler.
That's right. We're trying to grab Mike Gosler here as Ryan just went by. Mike, it looks like he's got some company on his back wheel right now, but he's riding a lot more loose than what we've seen him in the past. Is he just going for it at this point?
I think so. I mean, that's the most aggressive I've seen him on the first lap, you know, and both these two guys are just, they're moving. They're like head and shoulders above everybody else, and it's amazing to see.
Pressure's on in a big way. We'll let you get back at it. Thank you.
And I think that's what we expected to see coming in. And Mike Gosler, who's seen Dungey log a lot of laps, he would know better than anyone to know that this championship has made these riders step up.
Yeah, and they're close to 6 seconds a lap faster than the competition. They are flying.
Wow, and that's what the championship scenario has done. It's made these two go to another level. But who will reach the highest level by the time this one is over? You got to stay with us. It is on right now between the Ryans, Villopoto and Dungey. It's as close as they have been since the start of this race. Whoever wins this moto is going to have a huge advantage as the championship begins to head toward our finale next week at Palin, California. Villopoto on the 2, Dungey on the number 1.
Last time around at the finish line, Villopoto was a 2:26.5 and Dungey a 2:27 flat. Okay, so he closed it up. And just a few moments before we came back on the air, it was even closer than it is now. Villopoto putting on the charge. He's got to know at this point that if he can win this moto and Dungey was to finish second, that's going to put him 11 points ahead in the championship. And it would conceivably put him in a position where he didn't have to win any of the remaining motos to still win the title. And that's, it's a step. It obviously doesn't lock up the championship in any shape or form, but it puts you in a good position to be a little more comfortable and have a little margin for error.
And this is another area Villopoto likes to put the attack on. And Jeff, you were telling me earlier the difference in lap times between these two and everyone else on the track. It's a huge lead for them right now, nearly a minute over third place. That's how hard they are pushing each other.
Yeah, watch as they're going through this section. There's some loose sections, there's some rutted sections. They come down these off cambers, and there's some parts of the track here where they're trying to get on the throttle. It'll be just past the finish line area. But they're trying to get on the throttle, and it is completely hard-packed, even wet in spots, no traction. This is Villopoto's spot around the outside.
And Dungey's got it covered. Dungey shifted to that inside line.
And that is a smart move by Ryan Dungey. He's not going to allow Villopoto to have any chance at passing him there. 2-lap board is out. Here's that slippery spot, Jason.
And Villopoto's run this outside line a couple times. Now Dungey goes out there to block it, and he ends up right in front of Villopoto as they race past the mechanics area with 2 laps to go.
I tell you, I don't like seeing these lapped riders in the way, because if the lapped rider makes a mistake, because this group catches him so fast, and he's not able to get out of one of those deep ruts that kind of is like the only line, that's going to allow, if Villopoto's a very smart rider, he's going to know not to follow that line, and that could really hold up Dungey in this scenario. But look at how hard Villopoto is pushing into the turns.
That's unbelievable. They're holding on to the motorcycles. They are just absolutely tapped everywhere around this track. Right-hand corner. Dungey made a big mistake there earlier. He's got it covered this time. Now back downhill, a left-hander. Villopoto to the inside. Dungey able to squirt back past him.
Villopoto on the season has 7 Moto wins, and Dungey's got 5. Of course, Villopoto is your points leader, and he's trying to make it 8 right here. And like I said, that'll put him in a really nice position with 3 to go.
And here we are. This is what they call the Sky Coaster, a series of 3 double jumps winding its way across the top of the hill. Now they'll drop back down. And here's an area where Dungey made a mistake earlier. Like we said, he's made some mistakes. He's hung it out, but so far he's hung on to the lead.
And it seems like each rider has got a section on the track where they're really quick, okay? And what I love about this time of the season is we've got a lap and a half to go. We've got over 30 minutes of racing in this moto alone. These are the best riders, the fastest riders in the world.
Right.
And their physical fitness is in such peak condition, they're not even dropping off their lap times at all. In fact, as this thing gets down to the checkered flag, it may be the last lap that both rider turns in their fastest, because they have to, because they're pushing for that win.
That is unbelievable. Here we go. Headed toward the white flag. Villopoto around the outside, sideways on that Kawasaki. Able to keep it under him. And Dungey maintaining the momentum on the inside. This is it. They're headed toward the white flag. Does Villopoto have a spot picked out this last time around where he can make the move? Here's an area he tried to use earlier, and Dungey's got him covered.
I think he had a spot, but Dungey has now made a move in this chess match to, oh, there it is, white flag, 1 to go. Riders just turned a 2:27.5 for both riders.
And the third place rider, Metcalf, ran a 2:35. They are 8 seconds faster than the third place rider, who is obviously very fast in his own right.
A lap, 8 seconds,
8 seconds
a lap, not an 8-second gap between second and third.
No, that shows you what Villopoto, the pressure he's applying to Dungey, can do. Dungey trying to maintain his pace. There's a downhill section.
And each rider knows how important this single moto win is. As we get closer to the final moto of the season, each moto is going to be so critical. Dungey so far has had the lead. I'm telling you, you may think Villopoto's working hard from behind, but for Dungey to be up front and to keep it together, the mental strain and how strong mentally you have to be at this point to ride out front like this is just, it's incredible.
I think this is about as close as Villopoto has been through this section of the course at any point in the moto, except for the first lap. So he's got an opportunity here. Dungey able to edge away just a bit downhill.
And watch it as we come up to some of these spectator areas, how the spectators are responding here. Beautiful day here at Steel City. Over 90 degrees, feels like over 100 with the humidity, and these riders are just putting in perfect rides. I mean, just no mistakes for either rider.
Or no ones that are huge. They have exchanged a few mistakes. That's expected when they're hanging it out on the edge like this. Dungey has survived the first half of this last lap. Now we're on the other side of the valley. Can he still hold off Villopoto?
This is going to be close because Villopoto is so fast in that finish line area just before there. Watch Villopoto. He's on the outside.
Setting him up for these jumps. Villopoto's going to triple, not able to make the pass.
Oh, Dungey overjumps that tabletop. Villopoto, oh, now Villopoto makes the mistake.
Wow, Dungey landed, about 5 feet beyond the landing ramp. Another mistake. Here comes Villopoto around the outside, full throttle.
So Dungey wisely blocks the inside there, but can Villopoto square him up?
Only got about 3-4 corners to go. Here it is, right-hand turn. Dungey able to maintain it with a few lap riders in front of him.
Couple lap riders, where are they going to go? That's Les Smith and Michael Byrne. This could be the decision maker right here.
Now Villopoto's on the right side where he was on the left earlier. He's going to go for it and take the lead and the win in the last corner. Unbelievable finish. Ryan Villopoto grabs the lead in the last turn of a 30-minute and 2-lap battle with Ryan Dungey. Maybe the greatest race we've ever seen at this racetrack.
Wow. The last turn. And you can see that he was setting him up, and he stayed in it, and he stayed focused.
Wow. They just exchanged mistakes. Both of them had several moments where they're out of shape. They were pushing so hard, and Ryan Dungey did everything but win that moto. He essentially led every turn.
No doubt at that point that for Ryan Dungey with the lead, there's so many things in your head to focus on.
That's incredible. We have to catch our breath. Check this out. A couple of lap riders Dungey had to worry about, and of course he had to worry about Villopoto as well. This might be the first time Villopoto ever took this line, and it pays off for him. This is the margin of victory between the 2 and the 1. We'll be back to talk to them right after this. We'll give you the results. Of course, the big story, the Ryans out front. Villopoto tops Dungey, but a great run from Metcalf and Barsha 3rd and 4th. Reed 5th. I'm sure he's not too happy about that. We'll give you the full rundown all the way through the top 40. Colton Fasciotti in his first race on that Lucas Troy-Lee Honda team finishes in the top 10. Kyle Chisholm has been hovering around the top 10 since coming back from injury. Nico Izzy making his 450 debut today, ends up 24th on the Valley Motorsports Yamaha. And there's the rest of the top 40. Let's send it down to Aaron with your winner, Ryan Villopoto. Aaron?
If you're riding at 110%, mistakes are bound to happen. Both Ryans had mistakes out there. But take us through all the way down to that very last corner. Were you just waiting for the moment to strike?
Yeah, the track's pretty one line, and I got a great start, but Justin and Ryan got around me up there. But, I just stuck behind him, and it was kind of like cat and mouse. He'd pull away, I'd catch him, pull away, catch him. And I had a pretty good line here the last probably 5 laps I was taking, and I was able just to get him right before the finish. So everybody at Monster Energy Kawasaki's helped me out a lot. Dunlop to the great tires to get me out to a good start.
You needed those points desperately. What are your thoughts now with 3 motos left of the season?
Just get through today. It'd be awesome to have another moto like that and get a win, but just be smart.
Congratulations on a job well done. And Ryan Dungey ended up leading that entire moto all the way down to that very last turn. Ryan, take us through the emotions, the frustrations, and how to regroup from this point.
It was just a little unfortunate, leading that whole race felt good, felt like I had a strong pace, but I knew we were going to go out to the end. But when it came to that last second to last corner, it just kind of caught me different, and it's racing though, I think it's important that we just keep our head up and we got another moto, a lot of racing left, so it's just a matter of regrouping and getting back to it.
How much did lappers play effect in that last race?
A little bit, it's I can't really blame them, it's everybody's got to deal with them, but track's slippery, and just tire was kind of going a little bit, but Dunlop was working awesome. They did a great job, and all team Rockstar Makita Suzuki did a fantastic job, so thanks to them, and we'll get back out there ready for Moto 2.
Brett Metcalf off his very first overall of your career last weekend to start up here on the podium for the day. Brett, is today all about throttle control out on this track?
100% throttle control. It's so deceiving out there. You get into a nice tacky rut, and then on the exit it just turns into absolute concrete. A lot of wheel spin. Dunlop tires are working good out there for me though. Rockstar Makita Suzuki, and just another good moto for me. Looking forward to the next one and getting this Thor race gear up here, the new gear up here, looking good, and try and do another one.
Momentum continues to roll for Brett Metcalf.
Give you a look at the upcoming schedule here. Don't forget, next weekend we are live. All 4 motos will be live. Our first motos on Fuel TV, and then our final 2 motos on Speed. And of course, every Thursday night we have our highlight show. So that's this Thursday, September 8th, 10 p.m. Highlights from Steel City, and then next Thursday, season highlights from Pala and the rest of the tour.
Pro Motocross Championship has come down to 2.